Update 17.2 just released yesterday. We got this on console and Steam at the same time, I believe, and we're going to be going over a few of the patch notes, what it changed, and yeah, just kind of get stuck into it. Now, we're not going to list every single update, every single change that has been made. What I will do though is include the link for this down in the description of the video. It's also available over on my Discord. Again, you can find the link for that down in the description of the video too. And of course, guys, if you find this helpful or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We actually currently have 92% of all Age of Mythology players that watch this content not subscribed. Now, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was the DLC. Now, personally, I brought this on one of my consoles. I have two consoles. I have the Xbox Series S and the X. Both are mine. I brought this DLC on my S, and for whatever reason, it was only available on my S. Pleased to say that after this update, I can finally play as Freya on both consoles. Hopefully this problem didn't affect lots of people, but I'm sure if it affected me, it did affect others too. Now, this patch focused mostly on stability and performance. They made a variety of fixes and changes. Most of these are just minor little things, but they've tried to just get the game working better for all. I think it's also important to mention that they also did change and do a few other fixes that weren't mentioned in these patch notes, like for instance the DLC. Nowhere is it mentioned, but yeah, that was something that absolutely changed once this update happened. We've also had fixes for achievements. This is quite big, especially as there's a lot of players out there that play to platinum these type of games, get every single achievement they have to offer. Now, they've made a few fixes regarding the achievement tracking while offline, and I've had a game or two since this update too, and I can tell you that I've got some achievements I should have got already by now, so I'm glad that's been fixed. They've also made some UI, audio, and hotfix changes as well. Now, for Xbox and controller players, they've bunched us here together, and they have made a number of different updates or changes and tweaks. Like, for instance, players using controllers can now target units in Fog of War. I don't know what that was about, but hey, it's good to see that all these little things are being fixed. I think trying to get this game working well for console users is always going to be a little bit of a challenge when you come to a real-time strategy game, but I'm glad that they're trying to get this fixed and get this just working a little bit more smooth. They've also made a number of generic gameplay fixes, like for instance, favor is no longer shown in temples for non-Greek players, and also fixed villagers occasionally getting stuck on animal carcasses. I actually had this a few times myself, and it was a pain in the butt. A lot of these changes are little, but it's good to see that a number of changes have been made with this update. Hopefully, as we go forward, it's going to continue to be tweaked and changes. Now, we've also had a number of balance changes. That's actual changes to the Pantheon tree, to the gods that we're going to be using as well. But on top of those, we've had actual campaign and gameplay changes. Like, for instance, the significant balance change to the Fall of the Trident mission in Mission 18. The game taking longer to rank up to Heroic and Mythic. I think that's going to be a big thing, especially in multiplayer. And another thing for multiplayer could be the fact that town centers now deal an increased amount of damage, meaning maybe you're actually able to put up a bit more of a defense. I like that they also covered the fact that the cathedral that you get as the Egyptians has also received a little buff there, so no one's been left out. Moving on to the gods themselves, the Greeks and Hades. Just Hades, actually, within the Greek gods, has been nerfed. Now, he received quite a big nerf, actually. The Myth unit's hit point bonus that he got has decreased from 20% to only 15%. I think that's kind of a big one. They've also had a change with the Myth units under the Minotaur. The cost has increased from 150 14 gold favor to 180 gold, so they're now harder to get. Cyclopses have also had some changes as well. They actually got a little bit of a buff. Their hack armor increased from 30 to 40, and their pierce armor increased from 50 to 55 there. But that's not all. Perhaps their best unit, Hades' best unit, is the Hydra. The Hydra has been nerfed. It now takes longer for them to get their extra heads. Now, the 5th head being the strongest, you now have to do 2,500 damage, which, if you ask me, is a bloody lot of damage. I also used to find it quite hard to get those Hydras to survive long enough in order to even put out that damage, so now it's going to be even harder. That's a real shame if you ask me. The Hydras are a great unit, and I really don't think they needed to be nerfed. When it comes to the Egyptian gods, Set got quite a big nerf. His animals, the animals of Set themselves, the HP has been lowered, meaning that they're a little bit less tanky as they used to be. Is this going to make a huge difference? I don't think so. I think he has got amazing ability, and those animals of his are plentiful, so we'll have to see how that changes things. Moving on to Ra, he actually got a little bit of a buff here. The Pharaoh Empowerment Monuments are now in power at 70%. Previously, it was 60%. Now, the Egyptian gods also had a few minor god nerfs as well. For instance, their healing rate improvement has decreased from 100% to only 50% on Spirit of the Mat. They've also had a number of human units that have also been buffed mostly. For instance, the Pharaoh now attacks a little bit quicker. I mean, it is now from 1.2 seconds to 1 second for each attack, but that is a buff and an increased rate of fire. We've also got the Ramming Galley, for instance. That's got an extra amount of hit points. We have the Chariot Archers. Bonus versus infantry has now been increased from 1 to 1.25. And the Axemen as well. They've also received a buff there as well. So the Egyptian units actually got a little buff. When it comes to the Norse, only Freya was really changed, actually getting a debuff. Freya's gift technology now grants 10% hit points to all units instead of the 25 that it did previously. There's also been a few changes within the minor gods. Here most notably would be the Walking Woods. It's decreased the number of Walking Woods that there actually are from 8 to 7, but it's actually reduced the amount of favor that it costs to even some of them. In my opinion, it probably makes this a little bit stronger. Also, Ragnarok has changed, so instead of having that hack damage of 9, it's now been reduced to 8. And lastly, we have the Atlanteans. Now, first up, we have had a few changes here. In fact, he's had probably the most changes out of all of them. The Oracles now generate 25% favor at full line of sight. I think that's pretty cool. And all units now have a +4 extra line of sight. He's also had a little bit of a rework with the Sky Passage. Gaia actually got a couple of changes too. Her plants actually got a nerf. It now does less damage to human units. They've also changed a couple of units within their race as well. One of them getting a fix and the other one getting a slight nerf. And lastly, they've made several changes to lobbies and multiplayer. Now, I'm really hoping that these changes have helped the game, fixed the game, and just made it a little bit more friendly for playing. Now, one issue that we had massively is we had a huge issue with the Xbox Series S. If any player was playing on an Xbox Series S, it seemed around 28, 29 minutes-ish the game would just drop out completely. I haven't played against an S player just yet since this update, so fingers crossed that has now been fixed. I will pop a comment down in this video and let people know. I'll pin the comment if I do actually manage to successfully have a game against an S player. And of course, if you are looking for a multiplayer game, we do have an active and growing Discord. It'd be great to get more of the community inside the Discord so we can arrange maybe even a few tournaments in future. But there we have it, guys. That is my breakdown of the latest update. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this update. Was it good? Was it bad? Did it fix what you wanted to be fixed? And are you looking forward to the next DLC release? But until next time, I've been a monk who's been incredibly curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.